Ani Bojo, Joanne Giizhik, Puaring Donjba. Being again, Shingwauk Kinoomaage Gamig, Gitigaan Mishkiki. In this video, we will be learning about Cedar, Giizhik.
Our ancestor, the cedar tree. And the animal that sits in that direction is a buffalo, all for protection. And why you need a lot of protection from that cedar and also that animal that sits there. That cedar is the chief plant or tree that speaks to all the trees, every single tree, and that cedar has its power. We use it all the time.
The cedar, Giizhik, is a protection medicine, and you will see that around at ceremonies. When we smudge with it, it has a very awesome scent to it. And it'll crackle. And they say that when that crackles, it calls those helper spirits. They hear that sound and they will come to be with you. And there's different types of cedar, but they're basically all the same. And you can use them to smudge, make tea. But always remember before you pick your cedar to offer that tobacco. Put that tobacco down. Pick that cedar, and you never over pick in one area. You take a little bit here, a little bit there. In your heart and in your mind, saying that prayer for that medicine. You do it with intention.
Cedar it's the same thing. Giizhik. How I was, taught with cedar is like that's a cleanser. And even when you go into a teepee or around a sacred fire, a lot of times what you'll see that, you'll see the four medicines there. But, even if you don't have the four medicines there, you'll have the sema and then the cedar. And how I was taught is that you offer your sema to that fire. And then after that, you'll see a helper, or maybe you got to be your own helper too. Then you'll put that cedar down there right after you've done your sema offering. And then so that cedar, it's almost like there. Now that's complete. That person's offering with their prayers is it's complete. That cedar helps it to be complete. And so that the next person is now, that's a beginning for them with their offering.
It's just something you'd go get and hang up. Nobody sat around and talked about it. It was just something that was always there. And as I got older, learning about this as almost like a science, this way of life, I say, we've been doing that all along. We never really thought about why or the teachings behind it, but those things and how we were to live and understandings that came with that became more pronounced to us. And you'd see cedar hanging there.
His purpose is just that, just protection. Whatever needs protecting, it could be anything.
There would always be a tea on the stove, cedar tea, always like on the wood stoves in the village that have a pot of cedar tea, water with cedar in it, always boiling, always sitting there. And that created medicine that protected you, that enriched you, and it provided a holistic enrichment to everybody that entered your home. And you maybe grab a little cup of cedar tea when you're going by, or there was always those kinds of things accessible. In those days, when I was a kid, there wasn't pop and there wasn't juice. There was tea and water. So there was always tea on the stove, there was always cedar tea, and there was a bucket of water by the door. A bucket of water, and there was a dipper hanging there, and everybody just drank out of the dipper. Everybody that came into the house would drink out of the dipper and drink water. And water was also a really primary healing method, a healing tool. Water was always understood to heal us, and it was always accessible. And that was what we drank probably the most of to help us feel good.
Cedar as well, to me, for myself, see it as a woman's medicine. Like all the way again to the cedar tree. You go all the way to the cedar tree, and you think about how big that cedar grows. And long time ago, what I was told, some teachings with the Tikanagan being shared with me, and what the grandmothers shared is, if we can, that Tikanagan board is going to come from the cedar tree. It's like when you look at that cedar tree, the roots are just like embracing, they're hugging. And then that's how we are as people, and that's when you look at those roots, that's what I was told. And that when you cut that board, and then when you look at how that tree has rings like that, and then you want to have that board showing those rings. So when you see that Tikanagan board, you'll see those rings, So and even that, it's like that's hugging the Banojis, that's hugging that little baby. Like there's so much like holistic thought that goes into how our grandmas and our grandpas and our ancestors did things. I know what Giizhik, the cedar, smells like. You can bathe in it, boil up a big pot of water, and your house will just smell like that cedar. I'll put my face right in there because I just like the smell. I like the smell of that medicine. I'll put that pot of water in the tub, and it's in the tub, and then I wash myself. I wash myself from here all the way down. And that's what you'd call a really heavy-duty smudge. People will come and cross your path for a reason. They guided me to a grandma. And then it was that grandma who first introduced me to a cedar bath. So for myself, that cedar bath was given in a way as a real, I guess you can say, trauma healing ceremony. We can, have a ceremony. That's what it was for me. It was something that was given to me. I sat there and they washed me and they sang. It was powerful. I remember sitting in the chair like this, and I could feel my hands, my arms wanted to go up like that. And then I'm sitting here in the chair exactly like this. And then I got to a point where it's just I couldn't hold it anymore. And my hands went up and I stood up. And then there was just like, there she is. That was me. That was the healing. From being hurt to I can stand up now. And that's that medicine. That's that cedar bath. It's not going to be the same for everybody. And my story isn't your story, but I know what mine is. And I'm happy to share it. And I got to a point where, okay, I was told you can do that for yourself now. And I have. And today, I share that way to be able to use that medicine as a way to cleanse ourselves.
We also have a balance when we ask those spirits to help us. When we ask the spirits through whatever means you may have to help us, we have to also give them. We can't always just take take help, we have to somehow meet the spirit halfway. And if you're really frustrated with something and you need help and you ask for help and someone makes a smudge for you, it's going to help you, but it's only going to help you as much as you're able to help yourself. So you have to do something to help that spirit and meet that spirit halfway. That's the balance that comes with a medicinal spiritual relationship.
The Ministry of the Solicitor General wants those on probation and parole to have access to the 4 sacred medicines. We know that using these medicines and their gifts, along with other practices, lead to Manoba Madzuin, a good and balanced life. We thank these elders for their gifts of knowledge and wisdom about these medicines. Shingwauk Kinoomaage Gamig is honored to be growing these medicines for the Ministry of the Solicitor General. We know their gifts and their teachings will help many. For more information, go to www.shingwauku.org. Chimigwach again.